The nation of Taiwan, while often described as one singular island, is actually 13 major islands and over 100 smaller islands. I'm here in Kinmen. When I was a kid, I always knew about Kinmen, especially it was also the place where my father was stationed for his military service. I also knew it was close to China. I just didn't know it was that close. It's right there.
In 1949, as Chiang Kai-shek and his Chinese Nationalist Army were retreating to Taiwan, Mao and his People's Liberation Army were ready to finish the job and defeat Chiang's forces once and for all. Following a series of victories, the PLA sought to swiftly take over the Kinmen Islands, especially because of how close it was to mainland China. At the Battle of Guningtou, the Chinese Nationalist Army thwarted what would have been the beginning of the end for the Republic of China and Taiwan. While the Battle of Guningtou was the most recent attempt to take over the Kinmen Islands, the island itself has always been ready to defend against an attack. Compared to the military structures, to the Kinmen people, these Min-style houses more closely represent the culture and history of the island, but they also had defensive capabilities. Today, we're going to take a look at the island's unique protective measures built to keep invaders out. Before we talk about Min-style houses, one of the most eye-catching structures you'll see while walking around Kinmen are Western-style buildings like these. This one even has a watchtower, almost like a medieval castle. While these are Western in style, they weren't built by European settlers. These buildings were actually constructed by Kinmen merchants who did trade in Southeast Asia, where European architecture was popular due to the colonial influence. When they returned to Kinmen, they also brought the Western buildings back.
This is Shui village, located in the southwest part of the island. Back in the days, it was a major harbor, which meant it was constantly under the threat of pirates. As a precaution, the owners of this house built this watchtower to scout any incoming threats. Upon seeing the threats, the guards would descend the tower, take an underground tunnel all the way to that house. This house only acts as a decoy as the pirates are looting the house and owners are taking precautions in the house next door. In this house, a series of Home Alone-esque defense awaits, such as this trap door that allows for residents on the second floor to see the robbery that's happening downstairs, or even attack them from the floor above. Prior to the military establishments and the unrelenting bombing from the Second Taiwan Strait crisis, people in Kinmen lived in houses like these. These are Min-style houses, recognizable by the rooftops, the sparrow tail ends, and the horseback ends. This is Sanho, one of the most well-preserved villages within Kinmen. Unlike Shui village, this village is not near the harbor, so its precautions are not against the threats from the outside, but rather threats from within. One of the major features here you can see is the wahua. These are flowers made from roof shingles. These beautiful but delicate and loud decorations are made to prevent thieves from hopping from house to house. One misstep onto these delicate flowers would crack and have the whole village up on storms. Apart from physical protections, these houses are also designed to maximize the amount of protection and blessings that come from ancestral spirits. Feng Shui plays a major part in the design of these Min houses. It'd be hard-pressed to find a house in Kinmen that's not facing the south, as the ancestors must face the sun in a house with good feng shui. At the same time, if there's a body of water nearby, like a pond, the houses would also face that as well. This Sanho village is built by the Wang family on a small slope in the late 1800s. At the highest point sits the ancestors' altar to look over the many generations of the Wang family. It's not just the ancestral spirits that overlook the residents of Kinmen. There are also these. These are statues of Feng Siye, or lion god of the wind. In the 17th century, a seafaring pirate by the name of Koshinga, or Zheng Chenggong, came to the island and chopped down all its trees to build his fleet of ships to travel to Taiwan's modern-day Tainan. This left the land barren without many trees and left the residents at the mercy of the winds coming from the sea. To seek for protection, residents built statues of Feng Siye asking for his protection. Remember the Battle of Guningtou? It was the blessing and the protection of Feng Siye that blew those ships coming from communist China off course into a place where it led to their eventual defeat. Just kidding.
While it may be fun to associate Feng Siye to the successful defense of the island in 1949, the main reason for PLA's army's defeat was their lack of experience at sea and inability to forecast the island's strong northwestern winds. However, the Battle of Guningtou was the first of multiple attempts by the Chinese Communist Party, now known as China, to try to take Taiwan.
After more than 60 years, Kinmen remains the front lines to any attack that China has to successfully take on Taiwan's main islands. However, due to its proximity and its unique culture and history, the island has developed its own sense of self. To the residents of Kinmen, the battle to define its own sense of identity might be as important, if not more important, than that of bombs and bullets. Subscribe for more Taiwan stories. I'll see you around.